Load it up, send it on.
Yes.
We're getting ready to vacate here. So I mean, you shouldn't make what you're talking about. The only thing that
Yeah, we're no denying it.
Asking for our money, if you gonna put the lines, put the line down here. You can't get to the other people.
Microphones are on, folks.
Okay.
Yeah. Handle it on. Good. Glad to hear it. Yeah. Good not to be here. Take care now.
Good to see you. How is it, guy? Life treating you good? We're excited to have you back. James, I'm starting here the next week. Yeah. And then we're going to do a picture afterwards. Yeah. Well, we got to do a picture for Bonnie. Yeah.
Hi. See you.
How you been?
I'm doing well. How about yourself? Good. Thank you. I got a lot of compliments. I gotta remember to change it up. Thank you so
How you
much.
doing? Brian Mold, nice to meet you, sir. Good.
Yellow reading. I'm just taking notes here.
They're developing. Right, you're gonna be, yeah.
It's supposed to be some type of celebration. Yeah, I see Bonnie. Hi.
Good. How you doing, mate? Good.
I turn it over to you. The problem is they only get votes based on precinct. There's like a number of
Girl, look at that big old building. I'm gonna have to go on vacation to be able to use that.
So we gonna be here tomorrow morning 9:30. Just let it sit right there. You and I gonna be here tomorrow 9:30.
I gotta go back up to the phone.
Understood.
Welcome to the Spalding County Board of Commissioners regular meeting. It is Monday, April 4th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices. I'm gonna take a second to do that too. Let's see. There we go. First off, we're gonna begin with our invocation. Pastor Carmen Caldwell with New Mercy Baptist Church will deliver the invocation, followed by Commissioner Rita Johnson from District 3 leading us in the pledge of the flag. Pastor.
Thank you for having me. I wrote it down, so, you give a preacher a mic. We won't be here all night. So let us pray. Oh, gracious and holy God, we come to you today with bowed heads and hearts in reverence to you. We thank you for the opportunity to gather here this evening as our commissioners discuss and handle the business of Spalding County. God, I ask that your wisdom be with them. Give each of them a heart for the people. Let them look beyond the issues and the data and the statistics and let them see the people, the families, the stories, the life experiences. Remind them that with every vote of yea or nay, real lives are impacted. Help us see the humanity in one another. Remind us of your divinity that resides in each and every one of us. From the homeless man on the street, to the young man in prison, to the mother scraping to feed her children, to the father working multiple jobs to support his family, to the county employee who silently struggles with depression, to the judge who fears life after retirement, to the police officer who is tired having worked overtime, to the nurse who heals so many but must smile past her own broken heart. God, heal us. God, we carry you in all of us. God, with every decision, we ask that it come from a place of love and grace that you so freely give us. We ask your favor and prosperity upon this community and give us a heart to serve each other as we serve you. I thank you, Lord, for your sovereign power and reign over this city, county, state, nation, and world. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. We are your people, coming humbly before you, seeking your face. We turn from our wicked ways that are oftentimes more aligned with political and social ideologies than with you. Forgive us, hear us, heal our land, O God. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please take the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Before we move on to agenda number 4, I want to take a point of personal privilege here and just acknowledge the return of Commissioner Clay Davis. We're excited to have him back among us here. And I want to thank my fellow board members for allowing me to sit in this seat. And while he was gone, I appreciate this. I appreciate how awesome the staff is to work with. I'm eager to see where we go from here. And I just wanted to thank everybody for working with me in this time. That said, moving on to agenda item 4, consider appointment for chairman of the Spalding County Board of Commissioners. The way this works is we turn it over to our county attorney, Ms. Wyndham, and she runs the chairs for that one vote. Ms. Wyndham.
And we would accept nominations for chair.
Ms. Wyndham, I would like to nominate Clay Davis as, for chair for the Board of Commissioners.
Any other nominations? Is there a motion to close nominations?
Motion to close nominations.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, by acclamation.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board, for nominating and then allowing me to do this. This is the third time I've been elected, considering breaking there. I truly take it as a great honor, and will humbly do as much as I can to be able to carry out the wishes of you four as we go forward. This is a great opportunity for us this year, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later on. So, thank you all. Presentations and proclamations, item number 5. First, consider a proclamation honoring Bonnie L. Frogner for being named the 2022 Spalding County Golden Eagle Awardee and for all the contributions to Spalding County over the years. Dr. Ledbetter.
At this time, I would like to read the proclamation, and Ms. Frogner, do you mind terribly coming forward while I read? In recognition of Bonnie L. Frogner, Boy Scouts of America Flint River Council 2022 Spalding County Golden Eagle Honoree. Whereas Bonnie Frogner was honored by Boy Scouts of America Flint River Council as the 22 Spalding County Golden Eagle Award winner on March 17, 2022. And whereas Bonnie Frogner was born and raised in Somerset, Pennsylvania, and relocated to Griffin, Georgia from Cumberland, Maryland in 1971, and raised her 5 children in our community. And whereas Bonnie Frogner served as the news director and station manager for WHIE Radio from 1981 until 1999. And whereas Bonnie Frogner served as the executive director of the Griffin Spaulding Chamber of Commerce from 1996 until retiring in 2017. And whereas Bonnie Frogner has been actively involved in a multitude of organizations and service opportunities in the community to include PTO and many committees with the school system, the Griffin Spaulding Community Education Advisory Board, Little League, Griffin Spaulding Partners in Education, the Griffin Spaulding Education Foundation, Boy Scouts of America Flint River Council, Girl Scouts Pine Valley Council, the Griffin Spaulding Chamber of Commerce, the Griffin Spaulding Development Authority, the Griffin Community Relations Board, the Neighborhood Association Committee, the Griffin Utility Club, the Spalding County, you might as well sit down, it's gonna be a minute. The Griffin Spaulding Arts Association, the Griffin Spaulding Infant and Elderly Health Commission, the Griffin Spaulding Arts Association, the Griffin Newcomers Club, the Griffin Spaulding Certified Literacy Commission, the 911 Emergency Communications Board, Griffin Area Resource Center Board of Directors, the Georgia Federation of Women's Club. Oops. Let's just say that it continues for another at least 8 more paragraphs. Bonnie Frogner is active in Griffin First Presbyterian Church, where she has served on the session, sang in the choir, was 2-time past president of the Women of the Church, and currently serves on the Congregational Care Ministry team and plays in the handbell choir. And Bonnie Frogner currently serves as chair of the Griffin Spaulding Hospital Authority and the Griffin Spaulding Business and Tourism Association. And Bonnie Frogner has won numerous awards and accolades to include the Georgia Federation of Women's Club Outstanding Citizen Award, the JC's Young Women of the Year, the Georgia Association of Community Education Outstanding Community Education Volunteer Award, the Business and Professional Women Griffin Woman of the Year, the Pine Valley Girl Scout Council Second Mile Award, the Griffin JC's Citizenship Award, the J.C. Penney's Spirit of America Women Award for Community Involvement, the ABWA Iris Charter Chapter Woman of the Year, the Griffin Rotary Spotlight Award for Community Service, the Griffin Business and Professional Women Woman of Achievement Award, Georgia Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives Kent Lawrence Professional of the Year Award, Griffin Area Arts Alliance Heart for the Arts Achievement Award, the Eckert's Top 100 Women Nationwide, and whereas Bonnie Frogner was the general chairperson for the City of Griffin's 150th celebration, the co-chair for the Griffin Spalding County School System 2000 Showcase, and co-chair of the committee for the Olympic Torch Run through Griffin, and served as a torchbearer for the '96 Olympic Games in Atlanta. And whereas Bonnie Frogner is a graduate of Leadership Griffin Spalding, Griffin Police Department Citizens Academy, the Georgia DCA Region 4 Economic Development Academy, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Institute, Rotary Leadership Institute, and the Georgia Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives, Staff, Clinics, and Leadership Training. And whereas Bonnie Frogner has been a welcomed asset and friend to this community, now therefore be it resolved, the Spalding County Board of Commissioners do hereby recognize and honor Bonnie Frogner for her past and continued service in the Spalding County community, and for having obtained extraordinary achievement as a citizen of Spalding County, and for having contributed to the quality of life of this community. We thank Ms. Frogner for her selfless contributions and her dedication to Spalding County, and congratulate her as the 2022 Golden Eagle honoree for Spalding County. In witness whereof, the chairman will sign. Congratulations.
And we're all signed.
Lord, if you don't mind, we'll join for pictures. Yes, please forgive me. Perfect.
We're getting the
And that's hers.
Multi-page proclamation. All your papers are going to get multi-page.
Oh, don't ever give me a microphone. Thank you so very, very much. I am just really honored with all of this, and I'm very, very humbled. You know, when you're a volunteer, you don't do things alone. There are a lot of people that work with you, and it takes everybody to get these goals and these projects accomplished. So it wasn't me, it was us, and everyone that ever worked together on the programs and the projects. And honestly, I'm embarrassed when you read this, because, but over 50 years of is what has gone into this, and I'm glad we moved to Griffin. I'm very grateful. The people here are wonderful. Thank you so much. We're moving on and moving up and getting things done. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well-deserved. Thank you, Bonnie. Item number 2, consider a proclamation recognizing 911 Public Service Telecom Communicator Week, April 10th and 11th, 2022. Dr. Ledbetter.
This is in recognition of the 911 Public Safety Telecommunicator Week, whereas this week is a time to show our appreciation and to recognize that our health, safety, and well-being are often dependent on the commitment and steadfast devotion of public safety telecommunicators, because emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, emergency medical service, or other critical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of law enforcement, firefighters, and medical personnel is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Spalding County 911 Communications Center, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. These dedicated men and women are the first responders and are more than anonymous voices on a telephone line. They are local police, fire, and medical professionals who use public safety telecommunications to quickly respond to emergency calls. And emergency responders rely on their knowledge and professionalism to make critical decisions, obtain information, and quickly dispatch needed aid. Public safety communicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And public safety telecommunicators at the Spalding County 911 Center have assisted with the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. The work of these unseen first responders is invaluable in emergency situations, and each of these dedicated men and women deserve our heartfelt appreciation. Citizens place their trust in these individuals, not just this week, but every day of the year. And each telecommunicator exhibits compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job assisting those in need. Be it resolved, the Spalding County Board of Commissioners do hereby recognize the men and women of the Spalding County 911 Dispatch Center whose diligence and professionalism keep our county citizens safe. The chairman of the Spalding County Board of Commissioners and the board in total do hereby proclaim this week, April 10th through 16th, as 911 Public Safety Telecommunicator Week in Spalding County. We have Director Rico and Angela here this evening from the 911 Center. And at this time, we'd like to ask them to come up in receipt of this award, but we say thank you to them.
Yes.
Thank you.
Everybody where they're supposed to be?
No.
Okay, excuse me.
No, come on, son.
Yeah, you always gotta be in trouble.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, dear. Congratulations. So everybody knows, we know there's a basketball game a little bit later on.
Yes, there is.
Hey, we're going to keep this nice and short for you guys. We appreciate the Spalding County Board of Commissioners for acknowledging Spalding County 911 and all of the hard work that we sincerely try to do for the public. And we also want to thank the other public safety entities such as Spalding County Sheriff's Department, Spalding County Fire, Griffin Fire Department, Griffin Police Department, that help us and assist us in making successful ventures on any emergency call. But once again, we want to thank everybody, and we appreciate all your assistance and your guidance and your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3, presentation of the 19th Annual Payne Proctor Award for Volunteerism. Ms. Carmichael.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I consider it a tremendous honor and a privilege to be here this evening to recognize and present Spalding County's 19th Annual Bain Proctor Award for Volunteerism. The Bain Proctor Award is presented in April in recognition of National Volunteer Month. Mr. Bain Proctor epitomized volunteer service in his 23 years as a member of the Spalding County community. He led by example, volunteering his time and services. He encouraged and organized others in volunteering their talents and time for the betterment of this community. The Bain Proctor Award for Volunteerism recognizes outstanding volunteers in our community. It encourages unselfish volunteerism, which contributes to the growth, development, and strengthening of quality services and activities for all Spalding County citizens. Tonight is a special night, as we take time to recognize the exceptional efforts of an extraordinary person who serves our community with this in mind: service before self. This volunteer is in good company. Tonight we have 2 previous Bain Proctor Award recipients, Christine Napier and our first ever Bain Proctor Award recipient, Ms. Bonnie Frogner. Joining me this evening is our Leisure Services Event Specialist, Travis Bowie. She will be reading the nomination. Travis?
Thank you, Kelly. Good evening. Okay. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Roy Mclean started volunteering early in his life and continued to do so when his young family moved into Spalding County in early 1992. As his 2 young daughters, Jessica and Rachel, would become involved with activities and athletic events, Roy used his unique set of skills to help coach, but more importantly, to fundraise and lead efforts towards community service. Roy was always involved in involving his daughters and their teammates. Following the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, Roy's daughters took an interest in the shooting sports. Roy grew up in the shooting sports, so this might have been a natural progression. Roy assisted in coaching, facilitating opportunities for the Griffin High School air rifle team to train and learn at the Olympic shooting sports facility. But most importantly, fundraising. Roy ran the GHS Rifle Team Booster Club from 1999 to 2005, raising close to $38,000. As Roy's daughters moved from high school to college, Roy turned his skills towards raising funding for the Spalding County 4-H shooting sports program. In 1998, Roy inherited 6 broken BB guns and well wishes from Wade Hutchison to go out and build a shooting sports program, and build a program he did. In 2001, Roy was the Spalding County 4-H Volunteer of the Year, with 35 to 50 new youth joining in almost every year. To make sure that Spalding County youth had the best coaching available, Roy spent his own money and countless hours learning, training, and obtaining certifications in rifle level 3 and advanced, pistol level 2, and shotgun level 2 coaching and instructing. Roy is also a certified Chief Range Safety Officer and trains and certifies other range safety officers, as well as being an NRA certified Range Technical Team Advisor. To assist the local JROTC rifle teams, Roy obtained the JROTC Marksmanship Instructor course, Master Instructor rating. Roy is an accomplished visionary with demonstrated ability to deliver mission-critical results. He effectively leads volunteers and to date has raised more than $3.4 million for local Spalding County youth shooting sports programs. Roy founded in 1999 and is still the president of Georgia Competitive Shooters Incorporated. Roy also founded and is the president of Georgia Youth Shooting Sports Foundation in 2012. Both organizations directly support Spalding County youth shooting sports programs. To ensure that the youth in shooting sports have the latest and best information, Roy maintains certifications and affiliations with USA Shooting. As a life member, Civilian Marksmanship Program, National Rifle Association as a benefactor life member, Georgia Sports Shooting Association as a benefactor life member, and the Single Action Shooting Society as a life member. Additionally, Roy is the American Legion Post 15 Shooting Sports Committee Chair and annually conducts the VFW Post 5448 Annual State Championship Air Rifle Match, all in Griffin, Georgia. Roy continues to support local fundraising for Spalding County youth programs through the FONRA banquets since 2002. Because of Roy's efforts, more than 24 shooting sports athletes have received scholarship offers from NCAA schools in the sport of rifle. Thank you, Roy Mclean.
Please join me in congratulating Roy Mclean as this year's Bain Proctor Volunteer of the Year. At this time, we have a very special message for you coming from the Georgia State Representative's Office.
Good evening, Spalding County. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there this evening for what a great honor it is for you and our community to honor Roy Mclean this evening with the Bain Proctor Volunteerism Award. Nobody is more deserving than Mr. Mclean. He's not only served our community, but he's served our country through the Air Force. I think everybody knows by now that he's a retired Air Force, and we're just proud of all that he's done out at the old mill and some of the other organizations that he's just been such a great part of. Again, I'm sorry I wasn't there tonight, but please give him a big hug, and way to go, Roy. I am so proud. Thank you, commissioners.
One thing that we've initiated this year, and we will would like to do this for all previous recipients, as you go about serving the community, we want people to know that you are an award recipient. So all past recipients will receive theirs at another date.
Third time's the charm.
Do we need to move? No, you good.
Commissioners, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'd like to thank Leisure Services and especially the Bain Proctor family. I remember him, I've been here that long, and his many civic deeds and philanthropy. I'm proud to operate one of the shooting sports crown jewels of Spalding County and one of the 3 shooting sports venues responsible for bringing millions of dollars into the local area. Thank you so much.
There will be no presentation of financial statements tonight. Citizen comments. Speakers must sign up prior to the meeting and provide their names, addresses, and topics they wish to discuss. Speakers must direct your remarks to the board and not to individual commissioners or to the audience. Personal disagreements with individual commissioners or county employees are not a matter of public concern, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. The chairman has the right to limit your comments in the interest of disposing of the county's business in an efficient and respectful manner. Speakers will be allocated 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertaining to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No questions will be asked by any of the commissioners during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speakers will be permitted to speak more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend this rule. County Manager.
Mr. Chairman, we have 2 people who have signed up. Ms. Cindy Alexander is listed as one who is wanting to speak, but she is listed as number 2 under new business. So if it's all right with her, we will hold her until that time. So on the agenda this evening is Mr. James Byram, wishing to speak about streets.
Mr. Byram, please step up. State your name and address for the record.
My name is James Byram. I live at 56 Apple Road, Locust Grove, Georgia. What I just want to know is who I need to talk to find out how much is being spent on the dirt roads in our area for the last 15 years. That was my question.
County Manager will take care of that if you'll wait around afterwards or leave your contact information.
But
Thank you.
You got it all.
Okay? Thank you. Anybody else there?
No, sir.
All right. Minutes. Consider approval of the minutes for the Spalding County Board of Commissioners extraordinary session and executive session on March 21st, 2022, and the Spalding County Board of Commissioners zoning public hearing on March 24th, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you. Consent agenda. Approve on second reading Amendment A21-03, the North Expressway Improvement Ordinance. Do I have a motion to approve?
No, I'll have a question. I have a statement I wanted to make, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I,
Need a motion first? Okay, I'll approve the motion,
Motion approved.
and then you can talk.
And I'll second her.
All right, discussion?
yes, on page 9 of this document, it talks about, the requirement for setbacks. And to me, that is not very clear. In some places, it says 70 feet. Generally what we were told at the meeting was that under landscape area, it says the landscape buffer to right-of-way is 50 feet landscape area from the boundary of the right-of-way. I'm just concerned that that is really not far enough away from the road. I think in most places, at least I know at Chronic and on both sides of the street, the area from the actual road to where the development starts is more than 100 feet. So I have some concerns about that. I don't think it meets the requirements we want. On page 12, there's an entry about green space if you have a planned development. In our regular zoning ordinances, if in certain subdivisions, you have to have 25% of the entire area as green space or public area. And so my question is, why would we change that in this area if it's gonna have some density? 10% is not a lot of space. If you're using the same reckoning that we're using when we're doing a subdivision, so that I have a concern about. And on page 16, in reference to outside storage, sorry about this.
No, that's okay.
You're good. These are good.
Take your time.
The outside storage, I feel like the outside storage clearly said that if you have anything that's beyond the front of the building, then you have to have at least a 2-foot wall that covers that from the sides and from the back. But in the front, I thought that we were not trying to have outside storage. So I'm not real sure why we referenced that. I'm trying to find exactly where it is.
I think it's
the
on page.
top of page 16, so it starts on the
thank
bottom
you.
of 15.
Yep.
Top of 16.
It's the bottom of 15 and then carries over to
Okay,
the top of
outside
16.
storage
Mhm.
will be permitted only for those uses identified in whatever that section is. Only at the rear and sides of the building and pursuant to the following additional requirements. Any continuous unenclosed storage of finished products, which, I mean, cars, boats, whatever, shall be located beyond a 60-foot landscape area from the boundary of the right-of-way. That is just really confusing. And we still, 60 feet is not a lot in terms of what it is that we're trying to do. So, I mean, I know that we need to pass this, but I would hope that you would amend your motion so that we can direct staff to look at these particular items and refine them and bring them back to us as amendments to this document.
I'm okay with rescinding the motion. I would also like to make the request that we do this, that we actually approve this or have this at our next zoning meeting. I think that's possible for us to bring this back then.
Can I ask our attorney how, on a second reading, we could amend it? Can we do that?
It would be better if you would approve it on second reading with the direction to staff to look at the setbacks. And I think probably all the setbacks, not just the ones that Commissioner Flowers Taylor has addressed.
I agree.
I'm good with that.
I especially like the green space requirements for.
Yeah, that's a mistake on our, we didn't catch it, that's a mistake. Okay, so did you amend your,
I make a motion to approve second reading amendment A 21-03 to the North Expressway Improvement Ordinance, with the understanding that staff will review the setbacks to this amendment.
And green space.
And green space.
Requirements.
Second.
all right, I have a motion and a second. Are there any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you.
One other question, would we still have to review this again after I know we've approved it, but does it still need to come back to us for the fine frame?
For the amendment?
The amendments will come
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
That's
They
correct.
amended it.
Those amendments will come back to you for approval.
Okay.
You know, just on a related, for green space, they always count like the retention ponds and stuff, but like, you can't use that. You can't play, that's not green space. That's, so I've always, they have like a big water retention pond, and they go, yeah, that's our green space. But that's not really green space. Yeah,
We need to move towards that, I agree.
May I also say one comment, Mr. Chairman? I did not, and maybe I overlooked this, but I did not see anything that talked about stormwater. And we know that on 19 and 41, that is a huge problem. And somehow that needs to be addressed, because we're talking about land disturbance of lots of areas, some greater than 20 acres.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's one of the things that staff is currently looking at is the stormwater challenge that we have up and down 1941 and in other areas within our county. The Water and Sewerage Authority is having some conversations. I'm having those conversations with the general manager of the Water and Sewerage Authority. Nothing's off the table for our conversations.
Well, there's no reference to any of that here, and I think we need to put something in here, even if we're not
Yeah.
really sure what it's gonna look like down the road.
Excellent point. Thank you.
Yeah, just a proviso.
Start-
Taking
the
into
starting
effect,
point. Yep, let's get it on there. Okay? You have what you need,
taking into
County
I did.
Manager?
account
Okay, thank you.
stormwater,
All right, old business. Lift from the table and consider appointment to the Spalding County Board of Health to fill the unexpired term of Mildred Stoll, which is due to expire on 12/31/2023.
We have people in the book for both of these.
Yes.
Mr.
We
Chairman,
do.
motion to lift this item from the table.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. So everybody understands how this works. These are people who have been nominated to take a position. The way our process works, the first person in the book is voted on first, and if that person is not selected, then the second name, and then we go on with that.
All right.
To lift.
Yeah, you have a motion and a second on the table, so you need to do a vote
Oh,
to
excuse me.
lift.
All those in favor of lifting from the table? Raise your hand. 5-0. Motion is lifted. All right, County Manager?
Mr. Chairman, the first name in the book to fill the term is Ms. Cynthia Tidwell. Ms. Tidwell is a retired county nurse manager at Spalding County Health Department. She has 21 years of CNM. She was employed with Public Health as the nurse for 9 years, with a total number of years with Spalding County Health Department of 30 years. She served on numerous boards as CNM, Child Fatality Protocol, LIPT, Attendance Task Force for GSCS, Spalding County Collaborative, Brighters Tomorrow board member, CHINS member, EPI member, worked closely with the county members on emergency preparedness plan, and helped to organize the drive-through flu clinic for our community over a number of years. The staff's recommendation is that you accept this as the nomination for the Spalding County Board of Health.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Please make the notification.
Yes, sir.
Lift from the table and consider appointment to the Region 6 DBHDD Planning Board to replace Centel Brown for a 3-year term to expire December 31st, 2024. Do I have a motion to lift from the table?
Motion to lift.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Dr. Ledbetter, do we have people in the book?
We do. The first name in the book for the Region 6 DBHDD is Cora Flowers. Ms. Cora Flowers has a BS in psychology. She is a lifelong resident of Spalding County. She attended Spalding County High School, and she is a mentor and a big sister. The staff's recommendation is that the board consider appointing Cora Flowers as the representative for Region 6 DBHDD.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna recuse myself from voting on that.
I understand, Commissioner Flowers Taylor. All right, do I have a motion? I have a motion.
Motion to
Do I have a second?
Is she not a city commissioner?
She is.
She is.
There's no issue with that, is it? It's in her, okay. All right, I have a motion, and did you second, Commissioner Dutton?
I haven't.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4-0 and 1. Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 3, update the Spalding County, Georgia General Obligation Transportation Sales Tax Bond Series 2022.
Mr. Todd, welcome.
Please state your name,
Good
the
evening,
organization.
Good evening. Todd Barnes with Raymond James, the underwriter for the sale of the bonds. Good to be back with you tonight. I'm going to pass these down if you want.
Thank you, sir.
While those are going around, just remind you back in January when I was last with you, we kind of laid out the schedule for the sale of the transportation sales tax bond issue. And we indicated we would be back to you when we had sold the bonds, and so that occurred today. We had a very successful sale in the marketplace. Many of you have probably realized over the last few weeks and months the market has been pretty volatile with interest rates rising, and so every day you sort of hold your breath as to what's it going to be like today, and hoping for a good stable market when we bring clients' bonds to market. And fortunately we had that today. As you know, we were selling the $10 million in bonds that were authorized in the November referendum. And through an order, about an hour and a half order period today, we had orders for a little over $30 million in bonds. So just as the case when you're selling anything, your home or whatever, you want to have lots of demand and therefore get a better price for your bonds, and that was the case today. And we also like to see a good mix of different types of buyers come in to compete for your bonds, and we saw that as well. So from individual investors, community banks, money managers, large and small. So we had a good mix of orders, so we were very delighted with that result. The bonds were sold at an overall yield of around 2.16%. So again, a little higher than what we were looking at back in December, January, but still very attractive cost of funds for your money.
So everybody knows, we consider that pretty fantastic from where we were 4 or 5 months ago, so thank you.
One of the other things we talked about is the way bonds are being sold in the marketplace these days is investors are paying a premium to buy the bonds. It's kind of a hedge against rates moving up, but it benefits you in terms of while we were selling 10 million in face amount of bonds, we generated proceeds of a little over 10.9 million, which means over on page 5 of this handout highlighted there, we'll be putting about $10,689,000 into the project fund that you all be using to jumpstart these transportation projects. So that is good news as well. The last page just shows the annual repayment of these bonds over the 5-year period that the sales tax will be in place, at about $2.4 million a year in total principal and interest payments. And as I show at the bottom of the page there, the way the sales tax law works, when sales taxes are collected, which will start this month and get your first check next month, the money comes in first has to go towards paying or setting aside to pay the principal and interest during the year. And so based on, obviously while the transportation sales tax is new, based on your historical SPLOST taxes, about 4 months of collections will be needed to cover the principal and interest payments for the year. And then for the remaining 8 or so months of the year, the money will go into the project account to pay for projects on a pay-as-you-go basis. And so with your approval of the bond resolution that's in front of you tonight, that will lock in these interest rates, and we can go back and confirm those sales to our customers, and then we'll work towards closing and delivery of the funds on April the 20th. But again, you have before you what's called a bond resolution. You've seen a draft of that, but what this does is fills in those final terms of what we sold today. Approval of that bond resolution also approves one of the amendments to that is called a bond purchase agreement. That's the agreement between commissioners and Raymond James selling us the bonds that we then in turn have sold to our customers. So a single motion to approve the bond resolution will take care of all the actions, including authorizing chairman and others to sign the necessary documents to take it through to closing and delivery of the funds. So, again, I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have about any of that.
Question? Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the A1 rating from Moody's, which I think obviously is really good, but I know that's not the top.
Right.
So, how do we get there as far as, and how below are we from the top rating?
Very good question. You've had the A1 rating for a while now, and that is a very good rating. And just so everyone knows, it's at the top of the A category, and then there's AA and then AAA. The state of Georgia is AAA, and there are a few larger counties in the state that are AAA.
Have we ever been AA?
No, ma'am. But we believe you should be, and you all have been working towards that, and there are a number of things that they look at, some of which are under your control and some of which are not. Things that are under your control is fund balance, and you all have been building that up, which is good to see. According to Moody's is the investor service that rates your bonds, and they rate, obviously counties all across the state and the nation, and they create medians, kind of where for a AA rated county, what sort of percentage of revenue should your fund balance be at to be in that AA category. And you're still a little bit below that right now, so that was one of the metrics that they identified. Some of the things that you don't have a lot of control over, but certainly economic development as it continues will help with this, are the wealth levels and poverty levels within the county are below, I guess wealth levels are below sort of state averages and below averages for other AA rated counties, and poverty levels a little higher than they'd like to see those. So again, those are things that you as the Board of Commissioners don't have direct control over. But as we shared with the rating agencies, you know, a number of really encouraging economic development activities taking place within the county, both from a you know, commercial as well as residential developments and things. So all of that ultimately leads to raising everybody up in the county. And so, you know, I shared with Dr. Ledbetter and Jenna that, you know, I was disappointed that we didn't get it, the upgrade to AA at this time. I thought that enough had been done to justify that. I had some strong words for the analyst at Moody's
Thank you, Todd.
that we didn't get that this time. But hopefully in the near future, that'll be the case.
Okay.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioner Flowers-Taylor, do you have a comment?
I do, I have a question. So we were getting it just so that I understand, and maybe somebody out there doesn't, but I need to know that I understand it. We're borrowing $10 million, and we're paying back $1.69 million. That's what the interest is going to be.
11.6. So the total difference is 1 million.
Right, 1,700,000. So it's 694.
Yeah. So go to the
Because, I mean, I was, when and I may be wrong, I recall saying, how much is it gonna cost us to bond this? And these were not the numbers that I got. I mean, if y'all understood that, fine, maybe I was left sleeping. But, yeah,
We said 10 million.
So if you subtract that from 11,000,009, that's the total. $1,005,000 effectively is like the total cost of having bonded it.
Yeah, let me just say the $1,694,000, that number has not changed because we've always assumed that we'd be selling with the 5% coupons to generate the proceeds. So that hasn't changed.
okay.
With yields having come up over the last few weeks. That 10,700,000 roughly that we're putting in the project fund, that has gone down a little bit by about a couple $100,000. But otherwise, the repayment, the interest, the total repayment, that has not changed. And Commissioner Dutton is correct. In terms of looking at what your net interest cost is, you have to look at the fact you got 10,700,000 as opposed to 10 million. And so you subtract that premium basically from that interest cost to get a net interest cost. That's really what you're looking at.
So net interest cost is $1,694,000.
Less the premium that you got, which was.
Right, so that's the
Less
gross.
the
so
900, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, so the net
Okay.
is 1,005,000.
I just got a side note real quick here, and just, you're the underwriter. Our discount, where it says total underwriter's discount, had our rating been up a little bit, would we have got more of a discount? How that works?
Actually, that underwriter's discount, it's a strange terminology. Our industry uses strange terminology sometimes, but that's our fee for handling the transaction for you.
So it hasn't been with us,
So
okay.
that would not have changed.
Okay,
Where you would have seen it reflected would be in lower yields which sold, therefore more proceeds
okay,
out of the sale.
all right.
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you very much, and I think
Yes.
Stephanie has all of the signature
Yep, we got
pages,
it all.
we'll get that taken care of.
I'd like at this time for the county manager to kind of walk us through where we are on this whole process of T-Splosh and getting roads paved.
And yeah, the resurfacing and the sidewalk piece. So, great conversation. Thank you, Todd, for all the work that you and your team have done to get us into the position where on the 20th of April, we will see the check coming to the county for the sale of the bonds. We will make that deposit that day or the 21st. Tomorrow at, I don't have my calendar in front of me, I believe it's at 3 o'clock, we are doing the bid openings for our resurfacing projects for our roads. So that information will be back in front of this board on the 18th at our next Board of Commissioner meeting for us to award the work to carry us forward for resurfacing. Mr. Brian Upson is working to finalize the designs and the TOF for our sidewalk projects. That will be brought back to you as well at that time. So we're looking to start the work 6 weeks after you award the bid. So we're looking to start the paving the first or second week of June. So that's very encouraging. We have aligned all of these pieces of the puzzle to come together so we can quickly move forward. Just as an aside, there is some equipment that has been purchased, and the sale of these bonds will go to reimburse that upfront purchase. You saw one of those pieces of equipment this weekend at the MLK parade. The Great All is one of those purchases in support of our road work. So that's done. The bid work is done. We'll bring all of that information back to you and start the work on resurfacing our roads and putting our sidewalks in around the first week or two of June. So I'm excited about that. That's great work by the team.
How long will it take to complete,
They're telling us that we will be complete with resurfacing by the end of August if all the weather goes well. And that's roughly 20-plus miles of roads in our county that will be paved this summer.
But let's be honest, there's no way the weather's going to hold out that long. So.
We do start the event this evening with prayer, and we're going to continue to pray.
okay, any more comments, anything else from you? Thank you, Todd, we appreciate it, all you've done.
Do we have just tertiarily, do we have a timeline on when we're going to start doing sidewalks? Are we doing the paving first and then sidewalks?
No, sidewalks will run concurrent with the resurfacing work.
Very cool.
Okay. All right, Mr. Josh Scoggins, attorney representing the Vineyard Park Subdivision, has requested an audience with the Board of Commissioners prior to the next zoning public hearing. Dr. Ledbetter.
At this time, I would introduce Mr. Josh Scoggins.
Thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Ledbetter. Mr. Chairman, thank you, Commissioners. My name is Joshua Scoggins with the law firm of Miles, Hansford and Talent. I represent CBD Investments LLC, which owns the property commonly known as the Vineyard Park Subdivision. I also represent the purchaser of that property, MHC of Georgia LLC, which is doing business as My Home Communities. That's who they're more commonly known by. My clients and I sincerely appreciate the board giving us this opportunity to speak with you tonight. The Vineyard Park Subdivision, as you know, has been an ongoing project for several years. The property underwent and finalized development last year. Just by way of a brief background, I'm not sure how much information Mr. Galloway has given you, your zoning attorney. I'm sure it's been fairly thorough, so I won't go through all of it. But this project was completed in the summer and fall of 2021. Over $1 million was spent to essentially bring this neighborhood up to current development standards, being that it had been mothballed after the recession. So with that in mind, a final plat was submitted and tendered to the board late last year. That final plat was denied, I think based primarily on perhaps an understanding that maybe the density of the project or the old zoning classification or something like that could be altered. Given that denial, my clients had no choice but to initiate litigation against the county. But following that, Mr. Galloway and we've worked against each other for many years. He's a very good lawyer, and you're lucky to have him. He and I spoke, and I've agreed to several stipulations to save the taxpayers' money, save the county money, to extend out the answer period for that so we could come back through this process with more complete information and give you an idea of how we got here and why we feel we're entitled to the 77 lots that we have. This is a subdivision that was zoned back in 2007. We are approved for 77 lots under an R2 rezoning classification with a country club special exception. This is a minimum 10,000 lot neighborhood. I want to emphasize for the public and the board, the subdivision is fully developed, has been fully developed is fully developed. Like I said, over $1 million was spent just in the last year redoing the clubhouse, fixing sewer lines, fixing streets, bringing everything back up to standard from where it had sat, mothballed. So Newton and I had gone through the process for how we could try to resolve this, and we went ahead and submitted a preliminary plat approval for the Planning Commission, which was approved, I believe, back in late January. Now we're coming back before you for a final plat approval on this project. There were several conditions that were requested by Mr. Bradford Vaughn, your interim planning director. We've been working very diligently with Mr. Galloway and Mr. Vaughn on trying to address as many of those concerns as possible. I have not finalized the conditions yet. However, I have spoken with Mr. Vaughn and Mr. Galloway, and we're pretty much in agreement, I think, on all of these. The one that I want to emphasize is the fact that these houses are going to start in the 300s. Your median price point here, last time I looked, was about $250. We're starting in the threes and going up from there. There was a request by staff to impose a minimum condition of 2,000 square feet per house. We can agree to that on all but 7 of these finished lots. And on those 7 lots, we're still going to be targeting over $300,000 for the homes. The open space on this neighborhood is actually almost 65%. It's 55 acres out of 85 acres. So this is one of those neighborhoods. I understand the board wanting bigger lots, bigger homes, but this is one where the horse left the barn years ago. And I'd like the opportunity to go ahead and correct this now, as opposed to having to proceed through a process that's not going to benefit anybody. Like I said, we're here humbly and respectfully in front of you. I've got Logan Moss and Corbett Woods with My Home Communities here to help answer any questions. I also have some elevations of the homes that I can pass out, though they do not necessarily reflect the zoning conditions because they're not quite as onerous. One of the conditions we have agreed to impose is a requirement that the majority of the fronts be brick, stone, board and batten with very few accents, with water tables running, with front facades with no more than 25% accents, with the rears and sides comprised of cement-based siding. We have agreed to roof pitches. We've agreed to prevent chain link fencing unless vinyl coated, wooden decks being painted or stained, and all of the requirements of your country club subdivision ordinance being adhered to. Again, this is really more a question of lot count as opposed to anything else because they are there. So I asked Mr. Galloway for this opportunity to address and engage the board to answer any questions that you have before you take action on this, because I know this is a fairly complicated one.
Mr. Chairman? So your company has spent, or the company you represent, I suppose, has spent over $1 million in the last year there,
Between
right?
the seller and My Home Communities, who's the contract purchaser, spent over $600,000 by themselves.
And most of that, you say, was on renovating and bringing up the clubhouse to the standard that you're going to build the rest of the community with.
Per the county's instructions.
Okay. And so now that clubhouse is up to that code, and it's the same standard that you're going to build the rest of the community with, right?
I have not seen the clubhouse. All I know is that the planning staff has signed off on the clubhouse being completed and issued permits for all of that to be finished, and it has.
Well, now, wait a minute. Like, you just said that you spent a bunch of money to bring it up to code, and now it looks super nice, and
Bring it up
backing off of that.
I said that we spent all of our money. We spent a lot of money to bring it up to the standards that the county obligated us to build it to. I want to be clear. This subdivision, just to be frank with you, because that's the only way I know how to be.
Sure.
The subdivision does not conform to what your ordinance would allow now. This subdivision was developed before your codes were changed to require what they require now. We've acted only in reliance on what the planning department and the planning director and the engineering staff and everybody else have told us to do. So If that's not detrimental reliance on color of law and governmental authority, I'm not sure what is.
Now, this is
There's
just an
I
update.
think there's an engineer behind you that wants to say something.
Just real quick, my name's Corbett Woods. I appreciate y'all having us, and just wanted to add some information with regards to the monies that have been spent. The majority of it was spent on infrastructure and related things that the county staff had instructed Logan to do and worked with him on a punch list. It would not be right to say that the money was spent, the majority, at the clubhouse. Most, topping the streets, fixing water lines, bringing infrastructure up that's languished since the original developer gave up or lost it for whatever reason. So just wanted to add some color and some clarity there to that particular item. I don't want to interfere with what Josh is
So,
saying. Yes, sir.
can I ask you some questions, Mr. Woods?
Yes, sir.
So, but you did work on the clubhouse,
We have done some work on the clubhouse, yes, sir.
and would you say that the clubhouse is representative of what you're going to build out there?
I'd say that it was probably going to be nicer than the clubhouse.
Okay,
I would feel confident saying that.
but the clubhouse now is up to the county code.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. My
Does-
understanding is all the requests from the county staff, and I know we've had some changes there on the personnel side, has been acceptable for several months.
Okay, so what about the topped roads? What do you mean when you say topped roads?
So the roads are generally done in when you build a road, you pull the subgrade, and I'm not trying to, I'm just going to try to give a layman's discussion. You cut the road, you get to a grade, then you put some base down, stone base, then a binder course, then a topping course. And the original roads, when they were left, in this uncompleted state, were not topped, and they didn't have a top coat on the road. The top coat allows the road, that's what the road you're gonna resurface, that's redoing the top coat, and as part of the plan you were just speaking of with the bond issuance. So it gets this street to a standard that Spalding County can accept as a public street. It was not in that condition when CBD acquired it and we got involved as a contract purchaser.
Okay.
This is just information prior to the meeting later on the month. That's all this is right now. Have an opportunity. We're not voting on anything today.
Sorry,
Mr.
what was
Woods.
your name?
Scoggins.
Scoggins.
Josh.
Scoggins.
That's
Josh,
easier.
There was at one point an agreement that all the houses would be above 2,000 square foot, right?
There was not an agreement. That was a condition that the staff imposed on us.
Okay.
We went back and did a lot fit on each lot. And we have narrowed it down, drilling down into all the floor plans that My Home Communities does to 7 lots. And I can give you those lot numbers. I've highlighted them on a plan today, but I've not had a chance to scan it. I'm happy to send it to you, though.
We already have a copy of.
Well, there's one with the pink lots. If the one you're looking at, that's the pink lots.
Yep. And how big are those lots? I mean, how big are not the lots? How many square feet are those?
The minimum will be the 1750 that's in your current ordinance. It will actually probably be a little bit higher on the heated square footage. Some will probably run in the 18s. Just the lot constraint of the shape just keeps us from guaranteeing we can get to 2,000 feet on those 7 lots. Luckily, 90% of them, we can exceed it and be in the 2,000 and over.
So
Go ahead, sorry.
So right now, there's a imposed condition that's already there that says that they have to be 2,000. You guys want to put other floor plans in that are named, that you've had named for a while. They're not new floor plans. You're using these floor plans, and you expect to sell those still for over 300,000.
I feel comfortable in saying that, yes, sir. I would say we're offering to increase our minimum square footage from what's required. The 1750 is what's required, and we're offering to commit to do 90% of the lots, or 70 out of 77, at 2,000 or more. And we do have the named plans, and I feel comfortable that the market will receive them, and people want to come here.
So it's it's your belief that you can sell 70 homes for over $167 per square foot in Spalding County.
That's what our market studies have said, and we feel pretty good about it. I'm sure you're seeing some resales that are pushing that in the, you know,
I'm under contract on my house right now, and it is nowhere near that. Nowhere near. So, again, I'd love to see your market study, because I'm sure my realtor would love to see it as well. But if people could sell their houses for $166 a square foot in Spalding County, boy, wouldn't that be nice? But it's certainly not reflective of what the tax digest has. And again, I'm not sure who's telling you that, but I would love to see that market research. Additionally, I just want to bring your attention to the condition of your clubhouse. I certainly do hope that it is your intention to bring up the condition of what you're going to build, because your clubhouse is in a real sorry state. I know you've spent a bunch of money on renovating it and bringing it up to code, and you think it's very nice, but the locks are on backwards. They lock from the outside, not the inside. The floors are uneven. The areas around every single window and every single door don't fit. Every single one has just backfilled with orange foam. Orange foam that's not even then caulked over and smooth. So, like, again, the only evidence that we have of what you're gonna build is here, what's there, what you've renovated, what you say you've brought up to code. The other evidence of what we have that you're gonna build is what you're advertising that you're gonna build. And if you look at this house, it doesn't conform to our standards. Not the ones that were there before 20 years ago, not the ones that are there now. This is a vinyl sided house.
we're not building any vinyl siding.
This is your sign that you're advertising for this neighborhood.
Well, we'll get it
So
taken down.
all we have to go by what you're gonna build is, I promise we're gonna sell houses for $167 per square foot, and they're gonna look like this, and they're gonna be built by the same people who think that this locks that are open out, not in, is gonna cut it.
Well, let me-
I'm really sorry that you guys don't like the decision we made, but we've seen nothing to back up your position. Talk about detrimental reliance. The idea of buying something that's, might in the past have been non-conforming, and then considering yourself to, oh yeah, we're grandfathered in. Nope. So sorry, but I think there is a way to make this work, but hey, we agreed to bring this up 100 square foot. That's not it. That's not it. Like, we want quality building in Spaulding County. We would love for you guys to build quality in Spaulding County. But what we're hearing tonight, what I myself have seen, your sign at the entrance, both entrances. All right, it's nice rock face, right? Except that rock face is less than a centimeter thick, and it's foam underneath. Not only is it foam, it's foam that's shattered. It's foam with giant holes in it. It's foam that looks like a truck drove through it. This is the quality we're gonna be. We've spent over $1 million in the last year. It's gonna be great. That's not what we've seen. That's not what we've seen. And look, I don't want people to be judged. It's easy to judge by aspirational and boy, we hope X, Y, Z. I judge people on what they do. And this is what you've done. This is what you're advertising that you're gonna do.
Well-
I don't see how you have found fault in us.
I'm not here to discuss the fault, and I appreciate your comments. We have not applied for certificate of occupancy on the clubhouse, and the punch-out stuff obviously needs to be done. The signs gotta come down, and if the monument signs have some, obviously you're showing some deficiencies, we've gotta get them fixed for, we can expect to sell any homes. We've basically been on hold for several months as we're trying to work through this, and we'll certainly get all that stuff done. And the monument sign, And the clubhouse have to be CO'd before we can get a CO anyway for any of our houses. We have built in the county before, and I think those houses have done pretty well, and I think they're good quality. And Logan, you can probably tell me which name of the neighborhood is.
Yes, Hunts Mill and Vineyard Ridge. As far as the sign goes in the front of the monument,
They may not be able to hear you. Oh, you don't want to stay? You didn't do ours.
I'm Logan Moss. As far as the sign goes in the front, I was in contact with Debbie Bell, but obviously I can't talk to her anymore. We were talking about redoing those signs prior to, getting COs on our house. And, at the time that she was leaving, we were getting denied, so we didn't move forward with upgrading those signs. Obviously, we can't, sell houses with a hole in the monument sign. It was never our plan to. And as far as the locks go on the house, the clubhouse, they were just doing that so they could lock it. It's got a key in there, and they're obviously going to change it around once it was done. And there was no punch out done on it either because we were denied, so we didn't feel like we should spend any more money on it at the time.
Here's my issue. Obviously, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Obviously, you guys have the capability of doing it. The problem is, as I ask very specifically up front, is this done? Yes. Have we spent money? Yes. So this is the yeah, absolutely. And then when I say, well, wait a minute, here's all the deficiencies, you go, oh, no, that's not what we're going to do. It's going to be much better. Now, wait a minute. It can't be both. It can't be both. You can't say it's done, we've spent a bunch of money, it's awesome, everything's going to be great, and then go, oh, just kidding, we're not actually done, it's going to be better, we promise. Again, well, I would love to just trust you, but there's been plenty of things that have come to Spalding County.
The clubhouse standard and the home standard are two different things. I mean, to get our COs, we have to, abide by your conditions. I would hope that your, inspectors would be able to read that off and sign off on our CO, which was done with the clubhouse, which is abided by all the conditions to get it approved by Debbie Bell in the first place.
Again, there is minimal conditions to get something approved and it's a certificate of occupancy. And that's very different than selling an 1,800 square foot house for $300,000. Well, that would be a record square foot sales in Spalding County. And a record, like a record.
Are you familiar with Hunts Mill? Hunts Mill,
Can
Country
you-
Club theme subdivision, it's the same type of subdivision.
Let me direct you to East College, where the Fry House is. That's over 10,000 square foot that just sold for $358. So again, I don't know who's told you that you're going to get $167 per square foot. I would love to see that data. Everyone in this room would love to see that data. Boy, that'd be great. Like I hope you're right, but I mean, having a hard time swallowing that one.
Let's move
Let
on.
us prove you wrong.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate it. New business. Consider approval of an update to a contract with the Georgia Department of Transportation for a scope and fee revision for the Griffin Spalding Airport Authority. Dr. Ledbetter.
I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Peters this evening to share with the board about what's going on at the airport.
Well, not much. And that's why I'm here. In the 1st of October, the lady at GDOT that we have worked with exclusively, Carol Comer, retired. And until end of January, first part of February, we had not heard anything from GDOT. And we're not going to use the slides tonight. I was going to give you a presentation, but I don't think we need to do that. So we finally were able to make contact with the new guy at GDOT. It's Dr. Clement Solomon. I had the opportunity to make an appointment with him and go up there and see him with our Croy consultants with the intent of bringing him down here to have a meeting, just to get acquainted. I'm the new guy, blah, blah, blah. Well, the presentation that I gave him in that first meeting was, this is all the stuff that we have done up to now. This is the plan for the airport. We've had an approved, by the FAA, we've had an approved airport layout plan since 2017. Late last year, we got a AIP 34 for almost $9 million to move power lines, to finish our phase 2 property acquisition, all that sort of thing. But since October, the two main things that we had requests for, to go ahead and conclude the land purchases for the last 19 properties, and also approval for the new updated airport layout plan, which did several things to make it a little cheaper and easier to build the airport. We heard nothing from it. And in that meeting, I said, look, got these couple of very key things that we haven't heard anything from since October that we thought were, right next up. We should be doing that already. In fact, the land purchases should be done already by now here in April. And he said, okay, well, I'm new, let me look into it. A couple of weeks later, we had another meeting. Once again, the Croy folks, myself, went to Atlanta. We met with Dr. Solomon and his staff, and they gave me a presentation then and said, well, here's a couple of documents that you don't know about. It came from the FAA to GDOT. The FAA letter to then Carol Comer says, well, we, the FAA, are going to participate in your airport to the tune of $36 million. Wait a minute. The deal was for about $56 million in 2017. And, does anybody here think building prices have gone down since then? They've only gone up. So there's a problem with FAA doing $36 million. So the commissioner of GDOT, Commissioner McMurray, sent FAA a letter and said, wait a minute, you gotta at least get back to where we started from. They answered his letter and said, no, not until you justify all this stuff. Well, we thought all of that stuff was already properly justified, and that's part of the ALP. It was part of the site location study, part of a lot of things that had already gone on. But we have been directed, you got to do all these studies. So that is what generated a task order for our consultant to do all these studies. And when I saw the task order from Croy, I said, we're not financed for any of that. And I had already made it clear in my presentation to him, hey, we're short on funds to do this airport as it is. So I wrote him a letter and said, look, if we're going to do this study, GDOT's got to kick in because we don't have money to do that. And lo and behold, they agreed. And so what is before you tonight is a total grant of $273,000 and some change, of which GDOT is set to pay $204,844 of that. This is the first time GDOT has ever done a 75-25 presentation for us. Now it leaves us about $68,000 that the airport authority has to pay. We have that. We're good to do that. But what this is for is to go back and do those studies that FAA has required. It's not what we had planned on doing, but it's a requirement by the FAA. So what we're asking you to approve is this agreement. It's a contract that will be coming down electronically as they generally do. And as I said, the total of the contract is $273,125.50. Of that, $204,844.12 will be paid by GDOT. And so that's what we're asking for your approval for tonight. The city also has to approve that, as does the airport authority, because we're all three sponsors of the airport project. So all three of us have to approve that contract before we can go forward with it.
Well, what studies do they need? It's not another
Oh gosh, it's
Indian
a
barrel mound or something, is it?
yeah,
Is it?
It's a long task order.
it's a lot of stuff. I'll just give you some highlights. Aviation activity, length requirements for runway takeoff and landing, minimum requirements for runway and taxiway dimensions. That was done in the original. Airfield justification, huh?
Are they making us do it again?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, we had no intention of doing that. Existing airport facilities, inventories, aviation activities, reports, meetings, etc. runway length analysis, all that was done and is a matter of record. And so we had quite a few moments of angst over the requirement from the FAA. I don't know what's going on at the FAA, but like I said, okay, GDOT, okay, if you're going to require the study, then you got to kick in. You've got to pay.
Okay.
And so they're willing to pay 75% of the cost.
And GDOT did quickly approve this task order, which never happens.
Our record best time to submit a document for approval to GDOT and get it back with comments to be corrected to send back has been 6 to 8 weeks. This was done in about 8 days. And so the new guy really is working with us. I am very excited about being able to work with the new person. Dr. Clement Solomon, his last employment was at the University of West Virginia, in charge of all their transportation and parking and all that kind of stuff. And very, very responsive to everything we have asked him. So I'm excited about going forward, but we got to take one step back before we can take the next step forward.
We just got the agreement today.
Yep.
I reviewed it this afternoon. It is standard GDOT boilerplate. There's really nothing to it except for the fact that they're agreeing to pay $204,000.
So I'm a little confused about what's asked of us, because I know that, Dr. Peters, total 273, GDOT paying 204. You mentioned the authority 68.
Yeah.
What is it, what is?
You have to agree to accept the grant from GDOT.
To accept, okay.
There are 3 sponsors, Commissioner Johnson, the
Okay.
county, the city, and the airport authority. So on everything that we do with GDOT, all 3 sponsors have to sign off.
I think it's a no-brainer that we approve this. That said, it'd be 10 times cheaper to build an airport without.
Well, like you said,
Yeah.
if they're kicking in 204,000, I mean, it's not,
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I have a second. Motion and a second. Any more
Gwen.
discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you. Dr.
Thank
Peters.
you. I do have one other item to just, item of information and kind of a notice, something we're going to have to do. The east end of what will be the runway, almost literally at the end of the runway, is Sapelo Road. At some point in time, Sapelo Road is going to have to be closed north and south of where the airport is going to be. It'll probably have to be cul-de-sac at each end. And the middle will have to be closed because that will be in the air traffic part of the airport. We own some of that land. We don't own the other. Part of the AIP grant that I talked about earlier is to finish that Phase 2 property acquisition, but that was kind of on hold until this other thing gets rectified with FAA. But in the interim, we got folks, I don't know where from, but they are turning Sapelo Road into a garbage pit. I mean, from north to south, there's trash, there's building materials, you name it, it's dumped out there. Somebody doing roofing, taking off a roof of a house and dumping their old shingles and stuff out there. Every building out there has been ransacked. I don't think there's a wire or a piece of copper in any of those buildings left out there. We have put out cameras to see who's doing that. Cameras have been stolen. The Sheriff's Patrol has been out there. They have cited people for all of that, and it just hasn't stopped. At some point, sooner than we probably would have asked you earlier, we're going to need to close Sapelo and just keep there from being any traffic out there at all. But I will give you another example. Banks Road, just to the east, or just to the west of Sapelo, has been closed a long time, ever since we bought the first properties. We put a gate across Banks Road and closed Banks Road. They knocked the gate down. So we put the gate back up, and they stole the gate.
Yeah, like a 500.
So then we put
steel.
barricades on the road, and they started going around the road. And now we've got folks down there crushing culverts, dumping stuff into the creek. I mean, it's just out of control. It's the wild, wild west out there, as one of the residents who called and complained said. So we're going to have to do something at Sapelo to just keep people out of there. We weren't going to do that. We weren't going to ask you to do that until we were further along in the construction of the airport. But my comment tonight is just simply, we may have to consider doing that a whole lot sooner than we thought. I don't know what other solution there might be. Mr. Chairman, I think you were out there and looked at some of it the other day.
Dr. Peters, are there people still living on that street?
I think there's 2 on Sapelo left.
I think 1 or 2 on
And
the
and
other.
they've both called me and said, please
Yeah.
close this road.
Yeah.
Well, how would they have access to get out?
Well, you
It would
so they
have
would
to
still
be
have little
cul-de-sac.
cul-de-sacs on the ends, because they're like on the ends on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, they would be outside the cul-de-sacs, I think.
Yeah.
So what do we anticipate with the study, like, once we get this, we're paying for the study?
We're hoping this study will be done by the 1st of July, middle of July, because we hope to convince the FAA that we do know what we're doing, and we do have a good plan, that they already, oh, by the way, approved once before, and to try to get into the federal funding cycle before the new fiscal year. So that's why this becomes kind of a matter of some urgency.
Yeah,
I think, Commissioner Johnson, that would allow the authority to start with Phase 2 property acquisition, which would finish up purchasing the parcels of property that are needed.
And then once we own both sides of Sapelo Road, it'll be a done deal. It'll be easy to close off.
Yeah, and the homeowners are all on like the ends of
Yeah.
Sapelo Road. They just want like the center closed. People are also using it as like a cut through and drag strip
Yeah.
almost, so.
Okay,
All right, thank you very much.
thank you, Colonel Peters, appreciate it. Item number 2.
Mr. Chairman, this will be, GDOT's contracts must be e-signed now, so they'll be sending those out for electronic signature, circulating them after it's been approved by all 3 bodies.
Thank you for that. That's always a great opportunity for me to try to do that. All right.
Glad that email's going to you and
Yeah, that. Consider request from Cindy Imes Alexander to hold a National Day of Prayer on the courthouse veranda on Thursday, May 5th, 2022, from noon until 12:40 p.m. Dr. Ledbetter.
Ms. Alexander?
I want to start by saying it is very interesting to come to the county commissioner meeting. I have learned so much. And I also want to add before I get started that, yes, you can buy property in Spalding County for $167 a square foot at Sun City.
End of list.
And you got to be aged.
That's right, that's right.
Go ahead.
So it is with much enthusiasm that I come to you seeking permission to host what will be the 14th annual Spalding County National Day of Prayer event at the Spalding County Veranda on May 5th, 2022. This will not only be the 14th annual event for Spalding County, it'll be the 68th event for the nation. And I've been before you for the past 5 years. We've been absent for the last 2 due to COVID precautions and the lines that have formed outside the courthouse because of social distancing. So we are back, and we're hopeful that you will approve our request this evening. And to also assure you that the National Day of Prayer as an organization is non-denominational, non-discriminatory. It's an organization dedicated to uniting the common good of all Americans using prayer. So I want to thank you for past approvals and invite you to attend, and also to read our proclamation. If you issue that tonight, Spalding County will have issued a proclamation. Commissioner Dutton did attend back in 2019 and read that for us, and we'd love to have someone come again.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries.
Y'all are
Kathy,
so
you might wanna
kind.
go ahead and
Thank
put
you.
out a
Thank you.
Notice of quorum too, because I think more than just me are showing up this year. If there's any time we need prayer, it's now.
Yes, all right. Item number 3, consider request from the Spalding County Sheriff's Office and the Georgia Department of Transportation to approve an updated list of roadways in Spalding County for speed detection devices. I believe the sheriff is here. And while he's coming, thank you for today, by the way.
Thank you.
All right,
The list, this is the general list that we have had approved before. The updates to it cover the school zones in more detail, denoting times that they will be operational. The school zones are operational. Other than that, I don't believe there are a whole lot of other updates to it. It just requires all commissioners to sign.
okay. Do I have a motion before we get into discussion?
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Discussion, please?
Just had to ask. Are all these roads properly marked?
Yes, sir.
Can we make sure that, and like with the times, the school zones and everything?
Yes, sir, they are.
We can
They
make our
are-
own signs.
Yeah, there are different school zone
just wanna make sure.
times on the school zone signs because elementary, middle, and high school all let in and out at different times. So each one of them are properly marked.
Okay.
And I just have just a question, just a generality question here, because
All right.
you think most school zones, usually about 25, 30 miles an hour. And I know, see, some of these are like 45 miles an hour.
I think that would probably be the backside of Spalding High, Griffin High,
Okay.
somewhere in there, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
I think for future.
Okay, I was just looking, okay. All right, that's just curious, that's all.
I do have a question. So other than doing speed checks in the school zone, is there gonna be anything else happening, like, I'm not sure, someone had come to us one time before telling us about cameras in school zones.
Yes, ma'am.
Like the unmanned.
We have installed school speed zone cameras in all of the school zones in Spalding County.
So they are working?
No, they are not working yet. They are in the, just started today, as a matter of fact, or tomorrow, in the trial phase. No citations are being issued right now. They are properly marked. We're making sure that everything is operating correct. There'll be a 30-day grace period.
Okay.
Where there'll be warnings. My wife got a warning the other day from one in the city over on Crescent. And so they are going to work, we believe.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
On that topic, what are those little bits in the ground? I know that the camera's there. What are the things on the ground? Because there's like, are they connected everywhere? I've seen those cameras installed. There's like.
That I don't know. It strictly operates off of the cameras and the radars that are mounted with the cameras.
That I saw.
Right, but everywhere they put a pole, if you look, there's like 6 or 8 sets of like 2 poles approaching it.
I would have to check on
Next time
that.
you're on Crescent,
Okay.
check it out.
Okay.
I just assumed they were connected.
Have we voted on that? All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff. We appreciate what you do every day.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, let's now go to item number 12, report of the county manager. Dr. Ledbetter.
Thank you. Folks, from our emergency management office, there are strong, severe thunderstorms expected to move through Georgia tomorrow afternoon and evening and into Wednesday evening overnight. All severe weather hazards will be possible, damaging wind gusts, tornadoes, and large hail, as well as heavy rainfall and frequent lightning. The Storm Prediction Center has placed much of Georgia under an enhanced risk, a level 3 out of 5 on both Tuesday and Wednesday. I had the opportunity to sit through the briefing this afternoon from GEMA. They're actually concerned about this storm coming through, so please be careful over the next few days. Department of Public Health has canceled the COVID testing scheduled for tomorrow as a result of this inclement weather. The testing will commence next Tuesday, and we will start 2 times a week testing week after next for COVID as we watch the spike come in. The Department of Public Health is indicating that they're seeing a spike coming this way toward the end of spring. National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, thank you very much for the recognition of the team. I'm very proud to be a part of the organization and have them on board. Spalding 2042, the comprehensive plan. The public hearings continue. This week, our team is scheduled to hold our first public hearing for our comp plan at Woodruff Fire Station, number 4, located on Old Atlanta Road just south of Sunnyside. Please join me Thursday evening, April the 7th, from 6 until 7 to share your thoughts and ideas about how our county should progress over the next 20 years. Our plans are to meet with our community at the remaining fire stations over the next 3 weeks. Woodruff is the first on April the 7th. Headquarters, Station 1 is April the 11th. Roberts is April 12th. Cabin is April the 13th. Blaylock is April the 19th. Gary Reed is April the 20th, and Norton is April the 21st. We will have these dates and times posted on our social media sites, and we're excited about receiving public input. I did have a conversation with the city about the 4th of July parade. The initial conversations are there will be a 4th of July parade. Now we have an opportunity to work together through the details. We stand ready to help with coordinating efforts. Again, congratulations to Roy Mclean for receiving the Bain Proctor Award. April 13th, we're participating in a blood drive. If you're available, please come and give blood as the country is in dire need of supplies. Spalding County Fire Department is holding a promotion board tomorrow for a captain's position. And as an aside, the 2016 SPLOST has funds designated for improvements to the Ambucks Park and the City Park. The Parks and Leisure Service Advisory Commission asked for an update to the installation of air conditioning for these two locations. After review, it is understood that our bids for the work is outdated and will need to be rebid. I've instructed staff to bid the work for this project, and our plans are to bring this back to the Board of Commissioners in May so that we can move this project forward.
So the scope of work is gonna still be the same?
It will.
You just,
We're just rebidding the work. The bids are more than a year old.
Contract.
That's putting it mildly.
Okay.
that's from the 2016 SPLOST, right?
That is correct. Yes, ma'am. That's all of my report. Thank you very much.
All right. Report from the commissioners.
Okay.
Commissioner Johnson?
I want to say thank you, Sheriff, for an awesome lunch today. We appreciate all you all do. Thank you very much. Enjoyed having lunch with you all there. Beautiful day for it. Thank you. So Clay and I actually attended the Zoom call for the Spalding County 5-year comprehensive plan, since we're not on the steering committee, I guess. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the comp plan, to kind of give you an idea of what the purpose is over the next 5 years, is we're basically refreshing the vision of Spalding County. We do need community input, okay? You'll see a lot of this out there. I encourage each and every one of you to kind of sign up and learn more about what we're trying to do in the next 5 years. We're refining the future land use map, which is very important during our zoning, to know who can actually come in with businesses, what kind of business do we want, should I say that? And like Commissioner Dutton was saying, what that looks like for our community, holding them to a higher standard than what we're accustomed to. And basically priorities that we have laid out for this county. So I think that's important to everyone. So you'll be probably seeing more about that. We ask you to get involved. Martin Luther King Parade was this past Saturday. It was a great event. I'm not sure if the public really knew much about it, but the route itself and the participants were great. Let's just say that. So it was a good time. So I appreciate those that actually put that together. And since we didn't get a chance to have it in January, we did have it in April. I believe the staff is off on Good Friday? Question mark?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, so next Friday, Good Friday, we're off there. And I would like to end this, just say, thank you, Bonnie Frogner. One day, I just hope I can be half the woman you are. Not even third, maybe, just a little, okay? Thank you, Bonnie, thank you all.
Okay. Commissioner Spaulding?
Yeah, I'd like to start off, I had a long, in-depth conversation with TJ, our Public Works guy. And we got some exciting stuff that can happen with some of our dirt roads, like you're talking up there on Apple and all. It's gonna kind of experiment on a couple of roads and just see how it works, but I think it's gonna work, because I've been on these type of roads before, and they're nice. And also, this is something I've been trying to get done for a long time, and he said he finally signed a work order on it today. He's getting some lines painted on North Pine Hill, because even I've rode through there in the dust, dark, or the rain, they're non-existent. So we're gonna get that done. Marshall Webb, again, thank you for what you're doing, man. And I'm gonna say this at every meeting, we got your back, man, no matter what. Sheriff, thanks for lunch today. I enjoyed it. Got to sit around and talk to some of my old friends I used to work with, and it was nice. It was good for me. Helped me out a lot. And the last thing is congrats, Miss Bonnie. You know, I haven't really got to meet you much. I met you at our training class, but I learned more from you in 20 minutes sitting talking to you than I've learned on my own here. And I would like to appreciate and thank you, and I look forward to sitting down and talking to you in the future.
All right, Commissioner Flowers Taylor?
Yes, I wanted to say that last weekend, not this past weekend, last weekend I attended the ROTC Roundup, where all of the cadets came from all over the state to do their marching and whatever. And it was very interesting. I had never been on that part of the Griffin High campus to know how big it really is in the athletic field area. But there were hundreds of young people here, and it was just very organized, and you know, it's good to see young people that have their pants pulled up. I don't know any other way to say it, you know, saying yes ma'am and yes sir and stuff. But I was there with a group of local Masons, one of the Mason units here, and a veterans group, the veterans group Waypoint. So it was a really good day, and I was glad to be able to be out there. I also want to say that one of the things that you didn't read about Bonnie is that she's a terrific dancer, and she can dance all night long. I know, I danced with her.
All right.
That's
So,
right, that's right.
Yeah, I told your business. But just been just a pleasure to know her, and having been around her in different committees and organizations. And congratulations to Mr. Mclean. I learned so much about you. I mean, I know about the shooting thing at the mill, but I had no idea how it came into being and how many kids we've had, and I know a lot of 4-H'ers go there. So huge, huge win. And I can't say enough about these programs that keep our kids busy. And the last time the 4-H'ers came here, I don't think anybody had their pants hanging down either. So, or an earring in their eye. So yeah, good thing, and I just take my hat off, my hair off, whichever, to thank you for your service to the community. That's all I have.
Thank you for your descriptive words. Commissioner Dutton?
I want to point out that we've got about 100 years of military service in the room tonight, and that's pretty awesome, between the chiefs and the colonels and lieutenant colonels and the wives of colonels and whatnot. That's just exciting to know that.
Thank you.
That's the kind of folks that we have here in Spaulding County, so we appreciate y'all and your service. I want to circle back around to that, but there's a couple things. One, where are we on assistant county manager? How often, I mean, we're doing amazing things, but the poor guy's only got so much bandwidth. There's only so many hours in the day. And if he could offload some of those things, hey, do it like this, like, I think we could start jumping 2 steps at a time. So can we bring that up? Can we start working towards?
Already in the works.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure that we're.
Nope, we're on that sheet.
Okay. One of the things Bonnie Frogner said really resonated with me. You know, it took 20 minutes to read out all the awards she's done, all the boards she sat on. And even before that, I'm up here going like, you don't know, this woman is a pillar of Spaulding County. And tonight she said, it's not me, it's us. One person can't do it, even if they're as amazing as Bonnie Frogner is. It takes that person to organize, right, and take point on stuff, but without great people in the community that want to get involved, no number of leaders are going to be able to row this ship back to shore. It takes us, and I love what she said. I'm glad I moved to Griffin, and you know, we heard even from the bond rating tonight that we would have had a higher bond rating, but for a lot of the problems that we've got in Spaulding County. But the best thing someone can say about our community is, I'm glad I moved here.
Yep.
So I just, that really hit me hard. Roy, Mclean, fantastic. Congratulations to both of y'all. But Roy, I wanna call him out. The other day, I'm a youth pastor with our church, and we were gonna do a gun safety night, and I said, and it got rained out, and I saw him at some meeting or something, and I was like, yeah, our guys, rain. He said, well, why don't you come to our facility? Why don't you come here and we'll show them all the shooting sports stuff, and we'll have a little mini competition for them. Well, I don't know if we can, afford it if it's in the budget. But get out, just come on out. So here I am, on a Wednesday night. He gives us a course. Of course, it starts in safety, and then all the boys and adults got to shoot on the range, and we all have a lot to learn before we can become competition shooters. One of our boys did skunk all of us, including the adults. I'm very proud of him. But that's the kind of guy Roy is, hey, there's something we can do for a youth group. It's not my youth group. My group's not gonna make any money from it. Like, whatever, get in here. We love it. So I'm just glad that we have folks like Roy and Bonnie in our community. Like, it's just not the same without you. One last thing, not to end on a high note. Do we have an ETA on when we're breaking ground on the Aquatic Center?
The bid for the work is scheduled to be open the last week of the month.
Okay, and then how long until we open that up?
The bids will be opened and brought back to you for approval, and then it will move forward with groundbreaking. We've already got the LDP done. The land disturbance permit's already been issued. This next step is just to award the contract for construction to begin.
Okay. I'm very excited about breaking ground
We're
on
getting
this.
there.
Yes. So, all right, we've just been hounding the county for 4 years. It's gotta get done. Okay, that's it. That's all for me. Thank you, guys.
Okay. We had an issue at animal shelter in which we had everybody just about gone at one time, and we needed phones to be answered. And Commissioner Flowers Taylor personally went to the phone bank and sat there and answered phones, and that's a great thing to be able. Okay, well, you were there in case others came in, so great. We appreciate you doing that. Thank you for that. Thank you with everybody else to Marshall Webb. Hire more people, get code enforcement working. You're in charge of it, get it going. But thank you for what you're doing on an everyday basis for us. We're better because we have you. I want us to get behind the 4th of July parade. After having watched the last parade, we need to make sure that the public understands, and that we, as a county, get working on that. Right now, also, everybody knows we're in the final throes of bringing the budget together. Everybody wants to talk about the Spalding County budget and where we spend our money. This is the time. It's happening over the next month.
Just one.
That's one of the 2 volumes that the county manager is handing to us to say, study, come ask questions. But this is the time. So over the next couple of months, the budget year starts 1 July for us, and we're going to be involved in it. This year, so everybody knows, is kind of the year of planning. After a census happens, as everybody remembers, back in 2020, we had a census done. We reallocate congressmen. We had to do redistricting inside of Spalding County to be able to do that. Right now, we have a number of things. You heard Commissioner Johnson talk about the comprehensive plan that has to be turned into the state on where we want to do new things for zoning and planning. We have to do the SDS
Service delivery strategy.
service delivery strategy. that is another book about this size and has number of intergovernmental agreements between us and the county that we have to get together and turn in by 1 October. We also have to divvy out the money that comes in between the municipalities and the county. All of these things are 10-year projects that we do every 10 years. This is a planning time for us for what are we going to look like in the next 10 years. So there is a lot of head scratching, crystal balling on what we want to do, and it is taking all of our input, mental input. Things like going to the fire stations, firehouses to be able to get input from the citizens is important to us, and we'd sure like to have you all come and do that. Lastly, same thing that everybody else said about Bonnie Frogner. I'm on a couple of committees with her, and it is a pleasure to watch her work, one, and it is education, as Ryan said, to listen to how we got to where we are and where we should be going. So, Bonnie, thank you for all of that stuff to do that. I'd also like to say thank you to our county attorney for what she did to recognize Bonnie at the Golden Eagle Award. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
And second? All right, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. We're adjourned. Basketball game in a little over an hour. Okay, I got a lot to sign.
What they're doing, they're talking about trying out, they're putting, it's called a chip, pay, it's not